Yeah, right now we have teams. If you read the white paper, a big part of the white paper in the future is inviting people. Um, and so these early meetings are, I guess, where all the new people are coming in and joining us. Um, but keep in mind that we will be tracking the inviters, and the inviters will get 5% eventually of everything that those people bring to the table. So there's a lot of incentive there. Um, yeah, there's good feedback Gregory provided on multiple teams. Um, so, uh, yep, I guess that's all I really wanted to say is that, you know, in addition to joining a team, inviting people to your fractal is going to be a important thing in the future. Furthermore, there are other ways that you'll earn. You don't necessarily have to participate in weekly meetings in order to earn respect from a community. You can also post to the community social. None of those things are being done right now. I'm just bringing it up so that we don't lose track of where this is going. So where this is going to be a combination of what we're experiencing when we're using Hive, where you upvote, post on Hive, and um, you get rewarded with tokens or respect. The same thing will happen with fractally, except instead of being weighted by how many tokens you already have, you will be weighted by the average ranking that you get in these meetings. So as you're ranking people, you're looking at their contributions, but also their judgment, their ability to judge value in the community. And that just participating in these meetings, you are providing value. So if you're providing value, by providing your judgment, by being discerning. If you do nothing else all week and you just show up here and review what the other people are in your group, you are providing value. And that's why everyone earns respect just for showing up. And somebody who does a really good job at that, they're really thoughtful. They share the community's values. They keep people on point. That's a very valuable contribution, and that can be recognized. Another form of contribution, which is a little bit fuzzier, but it's effectively a celebrity who joins, is endorsing our process by being here, right? They're showing up, they're agreeing to the agreement, they're saying that they value the community because they're providing their time in here. And as long as they are not, one second. So as long as that celebrity, think about how much would you pay to have a celebrity join and endorse, and how much value would that be bringing to the community to have someone who's famous show up? How much awareness would that bring to fractal governance? So we're saying, people can make contributions just by who they are when they're joining. And I know that's kind of fuzzy because we're not judging people, we're judging their contributions, but collectively society has judged this person and they value their opinion. And so when they're endorsing us by participating, that should be recognized. So, if someone like Vitalik were to show up, even if he did nothing else other than show up, I would think that would be a huge contribution to our cause. And we're not judging him as a person, we're just judging the value of his endorsement of what we're doing. So those are some of the extra dimensions. And remember, we're all here to provide our independent judgment. Our judgments are not perfect. They are flawed, and that's okay. But yeah, that's just some other background I wanted to provide. So.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. So for more with regards to that, there is a blog post discovering goes into more detail. Then as far as a celebrity appearing, that does add level of value or endorsement. Imagine having a rally in your local city and the mayor shows up. The mayor is listening and participating. That is a contribution as well and shows support for the community's effort. It's important to look at these values as they become apparent and for you to make a decision on how you feel that that weighs in terms of the mission statement that the community is pursuing. All right, well, we're at the top of the hour. Joshua.
All right. If we have basically 15 minutes here before we're going to go into our breakout rooms. If you're new and you haven't already signed the agreement, mention that in the chat and I'll drop the link for you of where you can do that. And if you need to set up a Hive account, this is kind of the time where you can do that. Otherwise, it's going to be an AMA. So if you have any questions, or even if you just want to share, if we don't have a lot of questions, if you just want to kind of use this time to brag about some of your recent contributions, that could maybe be acceptable. We will have an after meeting, hangout. We're not going to do it on Twitter Spaces this week. That may be the case for next week. This week, it'll just be on Zoom. So for those who want to stick around, which has become sort of a thing, like a little bit of an after party, after hangout, after we close this main event, we'll, and end the recording and stuff, we'll just have a main meeting. We'll go to Mark now. And if you want to speak, just raise your hand like Mark did. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, thanks. Look, I invited Chris. He's here, Chris Harker, and he doesn't have a Hive account. I figured it would be fine if he would be able to go in a breakout room and observe without a Hive account. If that's not okay, we will get to task at building a Hive account immediately. But I thought it would be legit to have him just flow through there and look at this without going through the Hive mechanics. Is it legit?
Well, we've got some time right now. I'm going to drop the link and Chris, welcome to the meeting, by the way. I recommend that you just click on that link that I posted there and maybe choose the email option or the phone option. There's 5 different options, but the email option seems to be the one that's kind of easiest for everyone. If you can, that would be appreciated. If not, since you're here, maybe you can just do it immediately after the meeting. But ideally, it is better if you kind of show up with your Hive account, but that's kind of why we have the pre-meeting and this little buffer before we go into the breakout rooms. It's an opportunity to go ahead and create your Hive account.
Okay, thanks, Joshua. I'm working on setting up a Hive account right now.
All right, thank you. Very cool, and thanks, Mark. I hope that Mark gets a lot of respect for that. Go ahead, Matt.
Thank you, Josh. I'm very impressed with the fractally genesis. I'm just going to share some statistics, my own personal analysis. I'm trying to enlist some peers to work with me to try to make sure, like I need peer review of my science and my math and my simulator. So I'll just share these now and you guys can beat back on this if you would like. We have mined as a group 2,657 units of respect in the past 9 meetings since we started. That's amazing to me. So Bitcoin burns energy. We value contributions, and we've minted that much respect in just a little over 2 months. We're a highly cohesive group. So once people join, they tend to stick. So there's a real, I think, hunger for this fractal governance where we don't just get 30 random people every week. It's the same people that tend to be with us. And also, if you're new, you get better over time. So even if you rank low, like Josh was saying at the beginning of the during the newcomers meeting, just by continuing to show up, we each gain on average about 0.2 units of respect just by showing up for the next meeting. So I'm just super impressed with this group and what it's been able to do. All these random strangers coming together in just in just 9 weeks are able to demonstrate that they can work together toward a common goal. Very impressive.
Yeah, that was awesome, Matt, and really, really great stats.
Matt, where can we help with peer review? Where can we find that at?
If you could reach out to me, it's at Matt Langston at Telegram is one way to reach me. If you could just find some way to reach Matt Langston, then I would love to meet with you. For example, Ami and I are meeting after the main meeting we're going to have a Zoom call, and he and I are interested in working on the simulator together. If you'd like to join us then, I'd be happy to have as many people as I can to start talking about this and meeting outside of the meeting so that we can get to know one another and how we do peer review. I would love to have your peer review and your input.
Maybe also put that in the chat too, Matt, like your Telegram and stuff. That's awesome. Shout out to Ami. Okay, James.
You're supposed to record this and upload it somewhere? Sorry if that was already mentioned.
Oh, yeah, it is being recorded. And we are, Gregory and I maybe will have to improve the way that we're posting the recordings, but they do generally get posted every week, I believe. Except for maybe last week didn't get posted, to be honest.
People in the breakout rooms, just to be clear, are not responsible to hit the record button or anything. That's just automatic.
Oh no, the breakout rooms are not being recorded. That's not something we've been regularly doing, although some people do record it in like OBS and other things. So, I mean, technically, if you want, you can record. I recommend that you let everyone know that you are recording, but we're not recording and collating all of the breakout rooms. That is something we could do if everybody, really, if we have consensus that that's what we want to do, we can definitely do that. What do you think, James?
Well, I know we can't record through Zoom because no one in the breakout room is the host. So it would have to be OBS. I think probably the complexity of forcing everybody to learn how to use OBS or some alternative systems too high right now. We might have to just wait for better tooling to record all the breakout rooms. I think that is ideal though. So
is there any benefit to have it recorded for the consensus mechanism?
Yeah, it's like verification of what happened in the meeting. So if there's any dispute, there's a recording that people can reference, or even without a dispute, people can reference it just to remember what was said in the meeting and maybe check up on things that were said and whatever. I think it's just good to have.
But it should, I mean, still, I agree with all those points, but I think as far as the consensus is concerned, everything is in that post. So if a member has a problem with their own post on Hive, that doesn't sound likely. But yeah, it's definitely beneficial to have as much information as we can out there for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, another value would be if creators and stuff want to leverage those recordings to create, various kinds of content, which is something that's come up. So just like James said, logistically, maybe right now it's not really the best option, but some people like Dan Singjoy, who's coming up next year, he tends to record the meetings in OBS and sometimes does stuff with the recordings as well. So it's kind of another opportunity where where you maybe wouldn't otherwise be able to contribute if those recordings weren't available and allowed you to somehow, it created a new opportunity for people to contribute. So actually it's a good question, James. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, it might be worth mentioning. I just want to quickly piggyback on that. It might be worth mentioning that in the pre-meeting or whatever, because especially anybody, if they're coming from Eden, they're used to breaking out into their breakout rooms and trying to record. And last week my group was confused for a few minutes because nobody could record, nobody was the host, and it was like, anyway.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you for the thoughts, James and Joshua and Douglas and everybody, of course. And yeah, I'm really passionate about the videos because I feel like that's one of the really exciting aspects of Fractally. I mean, there's so many exciting aspects, but the fact that we're all getting together on video and there's so many great conversations that happen where people are showing what they do, it's an excellent opportunity to make content and make video content, which is both people can listen to learn about what people are doing, and then also can watch, and then we can edit like the best parts. We can produce them, and we have this library of content. So I encourage everybody to do it. Over the past, I've been doing it for every week, and then I've learned that it's helpful to say it in the beginning, for sure, to let everybody know, and then also to say I'd love to share it. if it's okay with everybody in the future on social media. So saying that helps to make sure everybody's aware of it. And then if anybody wants any help setting up like with OBS, it's all pretty simple. So I'd be happy to share how to do that or help anybody do that. And yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I just posted the blog post that we're going to be using today in the Zoom chat. You don't actually need it right this moment, but if you just want to open it up so you have it handy, this is where you're going to be posting your results from your breakout rooms. One person, ideally in the room, is going to put everything in the correct order, and everyone's going to check and verify like this is correct, and then you're just going to copy and paste that as a comment on this blog post. And that's how we know how to allocate respect to you right now in these early stages. Just a few more minutes. We're going to jump into our breakout rooms. Does anyone have any other questions or comments?
I just have a quick thing to add about the videos, which is that I'm planning to use the videos to track conversation dynamics and see how they just unfold in general and also relate to the consensus decisions. So it would be, I'm looking forward to having that as a repo for scientific analysis.
Looks like some demand is here. Go ahead, Dan.
Sounds great, Jordan. Thanks for sharing. I'm looking forward to that. I have some videos that I can share with you if you'd like. And then also, there's a couple things I've been wondering that I've been kind of meaning to mention to Joshua Gregory. You mentioned like maybe sharing it better, and so I've been like trying to like collect, and so it would be helpful to make a playlist. And then another thing that I don't know, it's probably not super relevant here, but it's helpful to get different angles. Like right now, I'm recording this with all of us in one, like the big gallery view with all 40 people or whatever. And then I think I've seen that the recordings that Gregory shared have like a big camera, or not a big camera, but it's just like a big frame. So I'm getting kind of into technical stuff that's not super relevant here, I guess. So I won't continue for too long. But I just wanted to mention that it is helpful to get like those different angles, and that's something that I think would be helpful to discuss at some point to make sure we get all the good angles so we can make the best content possible.
Yeah, very good point, Dan. So I believe the gallery view is being recorded, but we just post the speaker view. And yeah, I guess it is a dominant topic right now today. So maybe this week we'll have to figure out what can we do as far as having content available for the creators who want to work with it. And in that case, we would definitely want to have that gallery view, like you said, because it would, it does show the participation and all of that. So that's awesome.
Cool.
Dan mentioned that the invites are being tracked. Is that kind of a formal thing, like somehow maybe through Go Fractally that happens? Or is it just people are reading the comments and saying, oh, for question number 2, this person was invited?
So as it stands today, through this trial effort, we are currently not tracking invites. But when we actually launch a solution, an actual platform that will automate a lot of this process, it will keep track of that. So there are a number of things that through this trial that we haven't yet got to, for example, around 2 or around 3. We do need to get a critical mass of people, and hence why we ask everyone to do their part and at least invite one more person to each meeting. And that way we can get to that critical mass and start implementing at least rounds. But as far as the invites, currently they're not being tracked, but it is the plan to do so. So this really dovetails to what Dan said with regards to, ways of earning respect, inviting people, social element when we get to that point, and of course, contributing to the community. There's a lot of detail provided in the white paper as well for those that want to garner more information on that.
Yeah. Just because things are not being tracked officially doesn't mean they can't be tracked subjectively. And so keep that in mind, that in the long run, there's going to be a lot of people. If you invite them, they're going to remember that. The community will remember that. Yep, but I think it's time to do the breakout.
It is. And I have been through Go Fractally, we can do some tracking. So there is some level of tracking invitations. We can talk about it more maybe next week. All right. Here we go, everybody. All right, I'm going to create the breakout rooms. Join your room, have fun, and I'll also post in the chat the questions that you want to be asking as you're sharing contributions. So have a good one, and we'll see you back here in about 45 minutes.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, hello.
As the CEO.
Hello.
Hey, Jason. Nice to meet you.
Hello. Good to meet you as well. I don't think I know anybody in here yet. I mean, I don't think I've been in a room with anybody. I've heard y'all talk on the main room.
Yeah, I've heard you speak in the main room, Jason, and I've appreciated your thoughts, and I have met everybody here. So it's nice to see everybody else again as well, of course.
Hello, Dan.
Hey, Nuna. How are you doing?
Hello. Very good, thank you.
Cool.
And you? All good.
Nice. I've been jealous of your camera moving in and out because you have that sweet technology, and I always see it whenever you're doing it.
Cool.
Oh, hey, Josh.
Hey. I forgot to post the text. I copied it and pasted it, but I forgot to post it. So I'll post it for us.
Okay.
What's the text you're talking about, Josh?
Just the suggestion of the questions to answer as we're going around the room.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, I want to share something that happened on the last week's call that I was on in the breakout room that worked really well. We've often, in the other breakout rooms I've been in, had some experience that people nominating other people and having a conversation about who should be ranked top tends to skew the vote because people just want to sort of jump on the bandwagon sometimes. And what we did in the last room I was in is that everybody ranked all people in the room as a string of text, like they were going to submit it for the vote, and then we all just posted that to the chat. So everybody's opinion was uninfluenced by other people's opinions at the very beginning. And then, we did the normal negotiating and asking. This is all, of course, after everybody's introduced and said what they've contributed during the week. But I found it to be a much more fair process and a much less biased process. So if anybody is in here is interested in trying that here, I'd be up for it.
There's a couple things I'd like to say. One, I would just like to say before I would get started that I'm recording, and I'd love to share this video at some point, if that's okay with everybody. And then also, okay, cool. And then also, Jason, that's an interesting idea. It made me think too, like you mentioned, without anybody being influenced by it, and so like it'd be more logistically difficult now, but at some point it might be cool to have like a kind of a blind thing where everybody posts it and like everybody sees it at the same time, so that there is no like prior if somebody posted first and somebody else posted, then they would still see it and that might influence their thoughts, but it might be something interesting to explore at some point in the future. And yeah, thanks for sharing the idea.
Yeah, we can just hack that right now since we don't have a system and just wait until everybody's ready. When everybody says, yeah, I'm ready to post mine, then we all post it at the same time.
That's true. I mean, okay, well, it'd be interesting. I'd be interested to hear what everybody else thinks, of course. Or if people aren't interested, we could move on, I guess.
I don't care whatever way we want to do it.
Yeah, would everybody chime in on how we want to do this? We got to do it some way or the other.
So what's the question? Just everyone posts at the same time on your ranking? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the way I've seen this done normally is that we have a conversation and somebody nominates somebody for the top rank and then we sort of go back and forth and negotiate about that. And what I'm suggesting is that instead of having a conversation about it, at least for the first round of ranking people, we all just type out the 6 names in the order that we think they should be ranked. And then we wait until everybody's got those 6 names in that order, and then we all post them in the chat. And then we have the normal conversation we would normally have, but this way it's not biased by somebody nominating somebody else and somebody agreeing with that or disagreeing with that and any of that kind of stuff. It's just what you actually think without anybody else's influence, at least for the first shot.
So am I?
Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah. Let's
So-
do our, I think, we do our, whatever, 3 to 5 minute introductions, what you did this week or since your last thing. And then we can do that, what you said, post all at the same time. That's fine with me.
Cool. Doug, what did you want to say?
Oh, I just wanted to clarify that there would be an intro, not we're just making a ranking without any information of contributions from each other. That's all.
Oh, yeah, we're ranking everybody right now. I've already ranked you last. You lose, buddy.
Hey, I don't care. I'm going to get some respect one way or another.
Yeah, that's right. You don't actually lose. You're still winning.
Yeah, right. I'm just happy.
I'm joking. Of course. This is after we all do our
Sure.
introductions. We say what we've contributed, who we've invited, and all that other kind of stuff. And then once we would normally start nominating people, instead of that, we're just going to write a list of 6 names and post it in the chat once everybody's got a list.
Honestly, I like that, and that's the way I've been approaching this myself. Like, regardless of what the group does, that's sort of how I like to do it. Like, because I always get worried we're going to run out of time, and if I don't have an assembly of the right hive names in the right order, then I'm just, it's always like adjusting it. So I'm okay with that. I like that idea, honestly.
Yeah, I think this whole thing is to experiment with new process and procedures and see what works. So I haven't tried that process yet, so I'm up for it for sure.
I'll also add too that I agree with what Mark's saying about like experimentation is good, and I'm thankful for exploring this idea, and thanks Jason for bringing it up. But thinking about it more, I think it will work better doing it without that and doing like the normal process, because I feel like just thinking about having to rank people 1 through 6 and like having to write it down without hearing people, talk about it first and like having the discussion, like it's a lot of pressure, and like I don't know like how to do that, and it makes it more difficult. And I feel like it makes it more difficult for everybody. Then there's like lots of different conversations that come with it. And so in ways it makes it like simpler when you just take it one by one and you can hear people, make cases for it. So I'm happy to do it however the group wants, but I would prefer to do it just the normal way, and then maybe try that at some point in the future.
Well, I mean, this is a consensus process, but I just say anyone that wants to do it that way, do it that way. If you don't want to do it that way, don't do it that way. Fine.
Okay, that works.
Dan, if it's too much to rank everybody all at once, maybe it would take some of the pressure off of figuring all that out if you just ranked like the top 2 or 3 at the beginning. We didn't find a lot of value in having the last 3 people ranked at the beginning. So if we just say like who's 1, 2, and 3 as far as highest contribution, mid contribution, and then of the top 3, the lesser of the contributions, would that leave you with a little more comfort in how you do this?
It would make it easier, yes. I'm still feel like it might be best just to do it the other way, but I suppose I'll think about it as we discuss. But I also don't want to, harp on this too much right now. So maybe as Mark was saying, when we should move on, and whoever wants to give the first introduction. I see Josh was raising his hand too.
Well, maybe there's a compromise. Maybe we put in the chat who we like, what contribution we want to rank the highest. And then, so it's like a combination of both practices.
You mean just doing like the number 1 or the number 6 ranking first, and everybody does number 6 ranking first, and then we all type in the chat number 5 at the same time, and so forth. After designing number 6.
Yeah, like maybe we would chunk down the process that Jason is suggesting.
Yeah, That would be really quick and easy, wouldn't it?
That would make it easier.
All I can say is this whole process right now is stressing me out because it's all about learning about each other and what our contributions are, and we're focusing all our time on this thing. I vote to just move on and start doing the introductions.
You want to start, Mark?
No. Yeah, I'll start. Okay, I'm with Tippett, and I also represent the Tippett team this week, and I wasn't here the last week. So the last couple of weeks we've been introducing membership features, which are going to be a core feature of Fractally. If you don't know Tippett, Tippett is a social wallet that allows tipping of tokens. We support about 80 different tokens on EOS IO chains. And that means we're working with about 80 different groups that are supporting their tokens. And then this year we introduced NFTs, which are pretty exciting. The whole idea of Tippett is to bring in the masses into crypto, not necessarily without them having to learn about all the keys and everything. Just get them into crypto, get them involved, and see how great it is, basically, blockchain and EOSIO. This week we've expanded our membership thing, and we're working with EOSBs to enable them to set up their Bs as members, and then they get token distribution. So in the future, we think this is going to work well with Fractally, and because it's a membership kind of basis type system based on which Fractal you're involved in. And I haven't recruited anybody yet in the Fractally because I'm still waiting to see how this whole thing works out and the right process for it and things like that. So, but once I feel that it's ready, I think it'd be good to get people involved, and we'll be able to do that with I think we have about 12,000 people using Tippett with Tippett wallets. That's my update.
And the last meeting that you did attend, what was your rank?
I was ranked at the bottom.
Okay.
I was with Dan. This is funny. This is my fourth or fifth meeting, I think, and I've had Dan in three or four of those meetings, Dan Larimer. So I think I'll pass it over to Jason.
Thanks, Mark. So my contribution this week was a bunch of coding. So I'm leaving out all the adjectives. It didn't go well. It went well in the end, but it was not easy. So previously what I've done is, and this is not this week, previously what I did is I wrote a program that counts the votes that go on the Hive post. Originally it counted the ones in the Zoom chat, but what I do is I read the Hive post, or the program reads the Hive post, and it collates all of the people who voted the same thing, and then it produces a report that I send over to Joshua and Gregory. I think I've got an example here. So I don't know if you can imagine what it's like to read that whole post and try and figure out who agreed with who and what it looks like. No, I'm not a member of the Fractally team. I'm just doing this on my own. But what I do is I turn it into something that looks like this so that they can figure out who agreed with who about what. So this week I figured out that I found that some people just freeform post this stuff and put it on multiple lines and break it up in odd different ways, and then put comments in the middle of the post and then post this other stuff. So it gets a little trickier as people be more human with the voting. Yeah, syntax jungle, exactly. So I removed a bunch of that stuff this week, and I've got something that's going to be a little more reliable for producing good data. But what I'm really interested in is eventually there's going to be some amount of time between now and when Joshua and Gregory have a system for voting, and they're going to have to count these votes manually, and it's an error-prone, probably frustrating process. And so I'd like to assist with that, both the accuracy and the ease. Something that Dan said a while back, I'm going to try and, I think I have notes on this, but he said something that really nailed the thing I'm trying to get to. I don't have it in front of me, and I'm not going to waste your time as I look for it. Oh, there you go. Here it is. It helps automate to eliminate error and build trust. So that's basically the intention that I'm working on. I haven't invited anybody this week, and last week I ranked, how do you say this? If you're second in the room, are you 5 or 2?
You're 5.
5? Okay, so last week I ranked 5. Right
Meaning
behind,
you were
right behind
second
somebody
from
who
the
really,
bottom. Is that what you mean?
no, second from the top. Bishop, Charles Bishop, who runs some French team, really kicked ass last week, and so he was the only one ahead of me last week. That's it. Anybody got any questions? Anybody want to say anything, comment anything, ask anything?
Well, I was going to ask if you were a member of Fractally team, but I've seen that in there. So
yeah, no, I'm not a member. I'm just volunteering, assisting, helping out.
Have you had any
Anyone
dialogue with the Fractally team about what you're doing? Because I'm just wondering if they're already doing something like that or not.
As far as I know, Joshua and Gregory, yeah, I send my output to Joshua and Gregory every week.
Okay,
and they've been really appreciative of it. And as far as I know, they got nothing else going on. Joshua, you can tell us if you got something else to replace this already, but if not, I'm happy to continue doing it.
No, as far as I'm aware, Jason, you're the only person who's taken the initiative to do something like this. Only thing I wanted to say was thank you. The team is trying to avoid doing these kind of contributions because it leaves opportunity for other people, and also they're trying to build an actual platform so we don't have to do these workarounds and stuff like that. But who knows how long that's going to take for them to finish that. So I really appreciate, Jason, you've been at this every week for many weeks, making constant improvements and stuff. So awesome, and I respect it a lot.
Cool, thanks. I'm really glad it's useful. And yeah, I don't want the team working on this. This is just a hack. I want you guys working on something that is going to be, long lasting and stable and all that, and fits into the whole integrated system. So I'm happy to keep doing the hack as long as I can. Any other questions, comments, anything like that?
I just think it's great that you're doing it, because I see it, it's a temporary thing, obviously, and there's a need for it. And you saw the need for it and you just took the initiative to do it. And that's what I appreciate.
Yeah, well, good. Glad you appreciate it. And, you get a little bit of bump on the accuracy, I hope, a little bit of bump on the accuracy and ease of getting your vote counted too. So we've all got a little self-interest in it working well.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. All right. I'll pass it over to Nuno. Is that how you say your name?
Okay.
Nuno?
Yeah, Nuno. So I'm from Portugal. Maybe Jason doesn't know me, but I'm from Portugal. So I've been here for 3 years now, just observing you guys working. So what I've been doing this week, not much. I'm trying to invite people to come. It's been very hard to convince people to join us in a sunny day in Portugal. So
hey, Nuno, your audio is a little bit hard to hear. If you could get close to your mic.
Better now? It's way better now? Sorry guys. Was the phone those
yes, better now.
So I'm from Portugal. Now it's better.
Now there's feedback. I hear myself talking. I could just not talk too. So
just mute yourself.
So now it's okay? It's better, guys? So I'm from Portugal, Jason, and maybe Mark doesn't know me, but the others I think you know, Joshua, maybe too. I'm from Portugal. I've been here for 3 years. Try to observing as much as I can and learning. So what I've done this week, not much compared maybe with Jason and Mark. I'm trying to convince people to come here, but it's really hard because it's a sunny day in Portugal. And in the afternoon, it's 5 p.m. now. So it's really hard to convince someone to sit here and try to dive on those issues and hard problems. So what I've been done the last years or month, it's trying to condense the information of more equal animal in some image that make things more or easier to understand, like concepts like more rational ignorance, um, anti-fragility, anti-fragile, Pareto principle, those kind of key ideas. I'm trying to put them in a very easy way to share on medias or whatever. So what I did the last week was that I was ranked on 2. So from the bottom, almost the last. I'm okay with that, but this week not much. So I think it's this. I'll pass to Joshua.
Thanks, Nuno. Okay, last week I was ranked 5, the second highest ranking. We're kind of short on time, so I'm going to just keep it as short as I can. I am working on inviting people. I've been infiltrating different communities, infiltration instead of invasion, you might say. No, I don't think any real fruit has come out of it yet, to be honest, but I'm joining various kinds of DAOs, and I'm going outside of the EOS.io community and becoming very active and very aware of what's going on out there, particularly in the DAO landscape, but in just the broader. For some reason, I've been living in a bubble all these years. I was like an EOS maxi. Not the best investment decision, but I do love the EOS community. So anyway, we'll see if anything comes of that. But mainly, my main contribution, I think, is just kind of holding the space, like for gofractally.com, that online community for these meetings and stuff, to play my role as a cog in the wheel to make this happen. I do want to let you guys know that this month I did start I have a consulting agreement with the Fractally team. So I'm not on the Fractally team as far as like teams in these fractals go. And I'm not on the Fractally team like in an official capacity, but my company has an independent agreement with them. So I am getting compensated for some of the work that I'm doing behind the scenes. And one of the things that I'm working on right now is the experience when somebody joins gofractally.com and things to get them to join in the first place. And then also when they join the Fractally Genesis group in particular, like welcome series content and all of that. And I'm starting to work now on some of the course material based on the white paper. So that's stuff that I'm working on. None of it is actually posted yet, although some things are already recorded and all of that. So it's not tangible, but hopefully this week some things will finally be available. We don't really have a lot of time. I'm just going to end it there. I'm going to pass it over to Doug.
I don't really know how to encapsulate what I've done this last week for Fractally, because a lot of my involvement with Fractally as well as EOS is just a process of learning and discovery. All this is so new to me, but I can say I've been having a lot of fun on Twitter. There's been so much emphasis with Twitter. I've been really milking my Twitter account, trying to address EOS FUD directly, getting involved with Trimbot and some of the other EOS community members, and like Michael of Bywire. I've had a lot of interaction with him where I've learned he has a partnership with expert.ai, and there's a whole sort of strong interest I have in looking at what kind of tools already exist that can accelerate our learning and growth process here, not only in Fractally, but in just the EOS larger community that involve AI. And so some of the things that I came across that is the topic of the next user interface being conversational voice and interactive voice type dynamics. And I'm not sure if that's something that we need to be thinking about as a Fractally team it should be thinking about in the future, but it's something that I'm very actively interested in looking at. But setting that aside, I have a bunch of domains that I've just launched WordPress sites from that I've been working on conceptually for a long time. And there's two new ones that I've added to my list. One is called EOS Open Stage. The other one's called EOS Index. They're not ready to be officially launched yet, but I have a very strong interest in providing free learning to the public and monetizing the traffic. And so these ideas that I've had and sort of like the base of information that I'd like to share is something that I've developed over the last 2 or 3 decades and has nothing really to do with this community, but I think fits nicely with what's going on. Other than that, I don't have any links or things to share with you, but I think the real big thing I'm trying to do right now is get organized and focused on if I am really doing something here other than just screwing around and having fun, what is that and how do I organize efficiently with other members? And so I'm sort of curious about ClickUp. I know a lot of people use Trello, but just tools to where we can all, as the community members, be able to collaborate and assign tasks and stuff. And now, again, those are all things that I'm sure that Fractally team may be thinking about, but I don't really hear much dialogue about that. And there's sort of like everything happens behind closed doors. I actually have a relationship that I started on Twitter with the chief creative officer of ClickUp. And I also got my eyes on IBM and what they're doing with blockchain and AI. And so these are all relationships and energies and things that I'd like to introduce to the larger community. And if it means pulling in converts to Eden or Fractally or just EOS, I don't really care. I'm just trying to find a way to add value somewhere. So that's where I'm at. I'm a mess.
Yeah, mad respect for repping ClickUp.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Well, sounds good, Doug, and thanks for sharing all the enthusiasm too throughout the Telegram chats and on Twitter. I saw you posted a tweet. So yeah, much appreciated, and thanks everybody for all the excellent contributions. It's really awesome to see. I'll go fairly quickly because we only have like 20 minutes left. Last time we had like a crazy last 3 minutes trying to pick everybody. I'll try to do a quick presentation here, and yeah. So I've been building Eden Creators, which is a new media outlet that I'm aiming to turn into a fractal to create amazing content to help everyone cooperate fractally and make the best experience possible, and basically create like exciting videos and music and art and writing and all sorts of content to help people understand fractal governance and so forth. So last 2 weeks ago, I released EdenCreators.com, which you can see here. There's lots more imagery and stuff here that I think is pretty cool. And yeah, so I'm excited to share that. This week, there's, I suppose, like two main projects I've been working on related to Fractally, or maybe three. So one, I've been working on a draft post or a blog post, a draft of it called Growing Fractally Part 1. I'm thinking about maybe doing this as like a quarterly report kind of thing. And so I made some art with it, and then have like, I don't know, 6 different sections. So there's like an intro to Fractally where I'm planning, right now it's just like the outline, but including links to like the white paper and things that were released recently and content that I've shared and content that the community has shared to summarize it, and then sharing like some of the video meetings and so forth. After that, there's also some just description of progress that we've made over the past few months since we did that. Then there's also all kinds of different progress. One of the kinds of progress is like the evolving consensus process, where I kind of summarized different processes that we are innovating and learning with. Maybe the one that Jason mentioned can go here at some point. There's lots of text that's kind of messy right now, but there's that. And I also just wrote a bit about like the aspect of friendship and community building, and like curated some resources and wrote a bit about that as well. So that's really fun. And I also talked about like the learning process, about learning how to like cooperate well. In addition to like the friendship, I feel like that's important, about like learning how to like contextualize and understand how to cooperate gracefully. So wrote a bit about that. Nothing that's really shared yet. I just shared it with a couple of friends just privately, but I'm looking forward to sharing it publicly soon. And then I also curated some content that's created by the Fractally community as well that I'm aiming to make into like a more organized post, of course. And then also talked about the Fractally teams forming and organized some stuff for the Fractally and EOS brainstorming sessions, which I've been participating in. Also, Doug was there, so it was great to see him there. And then I also shared some, like summarized some content that I'm aiming to share with Eden Creators soon, like elevator pitches. I'm also planning to start a new show, which I was kind of working on branding for, called Creator Talk, to like discuss with people in the fractally community and creators in general, to just discuss how like fractally and creating can help. And then also I made another page that you can also see on the website for Jesse's proposal. And Jesse from the Bees, he made a proposal for fractally on EOS, and so I read Jesse's proposal, and then I wrote some pretty detailed notes about it. So don't really have time to go here, but basically everything that I was confused about, I asked questions about, or just like wrote comments and shared some thoughts about it and so forth. It was quite long. So there's that, and then I talked about it with Jesse and Doug and a few other people in the meeting. Last week I was ranked 6, and then also I'm hosting the hot sauce, so I did a segment on Eden, but that's not super related. So yep, that's it. Thank you for listening, and feel free to share any questions. And yep, hope you enjoyed.
And I'm just amazed by your activity and your production.
Thanks, Doug. I'm also amazed by yours too, and everybody's.
I'm shocked that you got that in that much time. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah, I've gotten, I guess, used to rushing through presentations.
Dan, how did you rank last week? I missed that.
6.
6.
Yeah.
Dan, I noticed that you're also ranked highest amongst all the Fractally members, even including Dan Larimer and Wild Wex.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it's something that's made me feel like a bit, I don't know, embarrassed, because I don't know. I mean, Dan Larimer and so many people in the community are doing amazing, and so like I'm very grateful for it, super grateful for it. And I'm glad that people are appreciating the work that I'm doing. I'm working really hard for Fractally. But yeah, I'd also be happy to be ranked lower, because there's so many people doing great work in the community that I think deserve a lot of, I mean, everybody deserves a lot of respect. But yeah, a lot of people who deserve more respect as well.
I also couldn't tell what your public contribution was. I've seen a lot of sort of work and reviews and stuff, but it wasn't clear based on your presentation. You don't need to go into it, but I just making a comment that it's not clear to me what the actual output was from your presentation. I don't know why I didn't get that, but
thanks for the feedback. Yeah, just to answer it briefly. So this week there hasn't been that much public. I mean, the content with Jesse and Jesse's review, we did kind of feature that and go through it during the Fractally on EOS brainstorming session, and then Patrick from Nova Crypto, I was just showing it, and then Patrick from Nova Crypto shared it, and so some people in the community watched that, and I think it's helpful for Jesse's proposal. But most of the work that I've been doing over the past week or so has been just kind of behind the scenes and sharing with a couple of friends. So it's not having like probably a huge measurable impact, but it's mostly just working for the future. Although if you're interested in seeing more, you can check out EdenCreators.com, and you can see like last 2 weeks ago I released like a music video and a presentation and stuff like that. So
all right. If you want to go with Jason's idea of ranking, and then we can all just submit at the same time, why don't you put that in your chat, and then we'll say go and just hit enter. Is that? And if you don't want to do it that way, don't do it that way.
All right, I'm ready to do that, or I'm willing to play whatever game anybody else wants to play about this.
Doug, the usernames are in everyone's quotes, or mine says Hive or whatever, but mine's Mark Stair, Dojin.
One other thing too that I don't know, it's probably not my place to say, but I just want to say Nuno shared the pictures in Telegram that he made this week, I believe, and he shared a link in the Zoom chat, but I don't know if everybody saw it, and I think that those are really cool, and I'm very appreciative of Nuno for doing those. So I just want to mention that.
Well, welcome. Pleasure.
Okay, is everybody ready?
Yeah, I guess. Should we just like type it in, hit enter, like at the count of like 5 or something?
Yeah, ready?
Okay.
And 5, 4, 3,
2,
2,
1,
1.
go.
Oh, I guess I'm confused about what we're doing. We're doing the whole.
I think everybody
the
ranks
whole
people
thing.
differently.
I thought we were just
whatever
doing
the heck
one.
you want, but we're posting something to the group chat, and then we're going to use that as fodder for the discussion about ranking.
Okay. It seems like everybody ranks people differently. I see 2 votes for
This is
Joshua
interesting.
as
Yeah.
number 1, and I'm happy to vote Joshua number 1 or 6.
Yeah, I don't want to accept that ranking this week. I feel like some of you are not getting allocated the correct amount of respect over time, and I think there's an opportunity that we can try to balance that out a little bit. So
Yeah, that's
well,
also
if you're
why
abdicating, how about you nominate somebody, Joshua?
Yeah.
well, I'm
Based
I'm
on what
nominating.
everybody said in here.
Yeah, myself, I'm nominating Jason and Mark, and you guys can maybe decide between the two of you who should get the top rank this week. If that would be my nomination, personally.
I agree with that. I just copied the names because I was not so fast typing. So my rationale behind my vote, I'll put Mark staring the top and then Jason. Why? Because I think Mark, at least from my point of view, got a lot of respect from me because the things happened with dance and the posts on Twitter about what we were doing here. I think Mark was very, I don't know, it's missing the word in English, but I think he got my respect a lot because he was very sincere and he apologized and it's still here. So for me, it's something really valuable, and the work he's been doing, it's very interesting too. I'm here long enough to see what is to observe and appreciate.
Let me just say that
I
I was totally unclear about what Mark's contribution was, given what Nuno is now saying. I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground about what Mark contributed this week, so I apologize. I just don't know. And let's keep going. I just wanted to say that because yeah, that's all.
Just to clarify, for me, my point of view is from all 2 years or 3 years, not just for this week. So it's my point of view. But I really appreciate what I've been.
Okay. I was under the impression that was something he did this week. My mistake.
This week, for the last 2 years or even more. Jason, you did a great work, but this week I'll put it this way.
There's so I think we only have like 8 or 9 minutes. We do have to come to consensus quick, but I did want to just say why in the chat I voted for Nuno. So one, I mentioned that I really appreciate Nuno's pictures. Both this week he shared some really great ones, and I think that summarizing what we're doing in what we're doing in Fractally and More Equal Animals, which of course infuses a lot of the meaning behind it, is so important. And like that is a huge book, but what Nuno's doing with making like this really awesome art and taking like short parts of it and condensing that, I think that's really valuable. And Nuno did some this week and also throughout the past like year or however long. He's been doing a lot of really great work. I also checked out the well, actually 2 things. One, I spoke with Nuno a few weeks ago, and he spoke to me about like how he was working with I don't remember exactly who it was, Nuno, maybe you can remind me at some other point, but like you're working with like some leaders of like some school boards or some local business, something like that, to help spread Fractally throughout Portugal. And so I thought that was really awesome, and I know that throughout a few different meetings you've been ranked fairly lowly, and I don't think that you've deserved the respect that you've received the respect that you deserved overall. So that's why I ranked you as number 6 for now, and that's why I would advocate for ranking Nuno number 6. But also Jason is doing very helpful work too. I don't understand it very much, but I'm interested to learn more. I know he's been saying some really helpful stuff too, and so I'd also be happy to rank Jason number 6 too. But yeah, those are just some thoughts.
I appreciate that, but I'm okay with the second, the 1 or 2 guys. I don't want to put entropy on this system, so I'm okay to be the last with the job. I will have more time, more goals to have. Today, I think Jason and Mark, once Joshua is leaving the floor, I think Mark and Jason will be one of the greatest guys to credit this week. And I'm okay to be the second or the last or whatever.
Okay, but I also wouldn't be too modest. I mean, I think that what you're doing is really helpful, but okay. So can we agree? I think it seems like maybe Jason has the most ranks to number 6, votes to number 6, or is there disagreement there? And does anybody have objection to that? I know Mark's received some votes too. So
What do you think, Mark? What do you think, Mark?
I'm okay with either ranking. Yeah.
Okay, Jason 6 for me is
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, I was also not really sure what Mark's done this week. Like, I wrote some notes and I saw Mark did like build that tool with the USBs. That seems like it'll be helpful for Fractally in the future. And then you said that you haven't invited people. So I'm not sure about ranking Mark number 5. I mean, I appreciate Mark's works very much over the past years. So there's that. Although I don't know, I still feel a little bit like Mark. He kind of lashed out at Dan like several weeks ago, and that's mostly resolved. So I don't want to bring it back up. But I feel like ranking Mark 5 might not be the best decision because of that. Whereas like Nuno has just always contributed positively, which is something that I appreciate. Just like consistency, is always contributing properly. And also Joshua too. I know Joshua doesn't want to be ranked number highly, but like he's doing amazing work like every week. So I might advocate for ranking Joshua number 5 even against his wishes.
Well, y'all can correct me on this, but I think the way that we're doing the ranking is contributions this week, not over time.
It's mostly
we
this
all
week,
really
but
respect
it's also
past contribution, but we really want to weight heavily on this. It's not the whole thing just this week, right? But we'll look at over time and more heavily rank this week.
It's
if
also
I'm wrong
relative.
about that, let me know.
Yeah, it's also relative to lifetime contribution and compensation. So, for example, like last week I was ranked 5, and the 2 weeks before that I was ranked 6 for the first times. So I've had better rankings recently, and I'm getting actual compensation from the Fractally team now as well. So I'm getting compensation and I'm getting respect for my contributions, but I feel like some of you are not getting as much respect allocated as relative to your lifetime contributions to this particular experiment or to fractal governance in general, which maybe we're not supposed to be respecting. Maybe it's only like directly for Fractally, but I'm personally, I think if you're contributing to fractal governance, you're contributing to make the case for Fractally. So I'm aware of various contributions from Mark that maybe have not been respected a lot in this particular experiment, and I don't have time to like recount them or present them or anything at this moment. Maybe Mark can do that another time.
I do think that that is part of the process of the Fractally is to rebalance the respect, and that's why I put Dan at the lowest ranking, because right now he's the top ranked Fractally member, and I think that needs to be rebalanced. I appreciate your contribution, Dan, but I don't think your contribution is above Dan Larimer's.
Yeah, of course. And thank you. By the way, I'm glad you appreciate it.
This is my latest
Folks, we got
ranking.
2 minutes to get the other 5 people in line. Can we make some proposal about how we can do that quickly?
And I do agree with what Josh was saying. If you're being paid for work, that it's a little different than if you're not being paid on things. I think it should be taken into account somewhat, a little bit. But
okay.
I do think I put Joshua a little higher because where did I put him in the end here?
So I think we do only have like a minute and 30 seconds left, probably.
3.
Well, for this week, I'd like to sacrifice myself to be the lowest allocation of respect, so that you guys can all have a little more respect allocated, because I think that would be fair. It's just how I personally feel about it. Try not to fight me.
I don't agree with that. Just the way where you're ranked versus Dan's. So I don't think you should be at the very bottom.
Yeah, well, over time in these coming weeks, I'll have a chance to catch up in my own rankings, but I might not have a chance to help you guys catch up, and get a little more recognition.
Okay, so how about we say Joshua number 1, me number 2, and Jason number 6, and then we fill out the last 3 before the next minute.
Sorry, what did you say again?
I said we rank.
These numbers are really confusing. The 6
Right.
top, I don't know.
So we'll rank Jason number 6. We'll rank me number 2. We'll rank Joshua number 1, and then we'll figure out 5, 4, and 3. And first we'll figure out 5. I will still advocate for Nuno to be number 5, but I'm happy to choose something different if the community wants different. We have 60 seconds. Let's choose number 5. And if we don't choose, then we all lose. So let's choose quickly.
I'm inclined to just take what Joshua said right there.
Me too.
I don't think we need to get more picky than that.
I'm with Joshua too. I'm okay. If you are okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, things will balance out over the coming weeks. We're all winning just by participating.
That's true. Okay, I'm happy with that.
All right, let's all post that in the Hive post once we get out of here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Great meeting everybody. This was fun, and thanks everybody so much.
Yeah, thanks. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah,
That was
same.
fun.
Even though it was chaos.
It was difficult, yeah.
What can we expect? It's early. It's early still.
Chaos, I love it, yeah.
I think this was the toughest group though I had so far to sort out the rankings.
It was very difficult, yeah.
I think it was my connection that kicked me out.
It was exactly time for everything to end, so I don't think you had any choice in the matter.
No, yeah, but I mean, we either ways reached consensus, so it's fine.
All right. I just want to say it was a good week. My group was very efficient. We reached consensus in 15 minutes. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be 15 minutes, but I think it shows the possibility that once things get relatively refined, that we can minimize the overhead this process has on everyone's life. So guess I'm here for the next 15 minutes or so to answer any questions.
You can go to the reactions on the bottom of Zoom and raise your hand if you have a question or a comment.
So as I was updating the team or my group, Fractally has been working on new video conference solutions for doing this without Zoom in a peer-to-peer manner, including decentralized ways of getting things recorded. So we're pretty excited about those possibilities and how that's going to scale, because if we're going to operate a decentralized blockchain based on this process, then we need the entire software stack to be as decentralized as possible. So we're doing a lot of investment of our development resources into achieving that. So there's some good stuff there, and we'll be able to reveal more about our technical roadmap toward about beginning of June, about 1 month from now. And we'll have a little bit more information for everyone. So I'm really excited about what the team's been working on and the opportunity to communicate it in a little bit more organized way instead of ad hoc in these meetings. So that's what's coming up. I see Marco.
How closely does Fractally work with Eden?
Eden could be viewed as the early prototype of fractal governance. We're not working with Eden directly, other than, I guess, periodic maintenance and support um, of that process. So I think the Eden community is moving toward just doing this at most monthly, and still forward looking, and they're using funding from EOS to be EOS centric. So it's a good alternative take on what we're doing here, but the Fractally mission is much broader than the Eden mission. All right, Jordan.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up on that. I was just wondering if you think of, if you're thinking that there are ways that the Eden election process, sort of in its basic current form, would be used within Fractally, or if you know that's sort of like outside the scope of the way that credit and respect and things would be accumulated in Fractally.
Yeah, the difference between Eden and Fractally is about recognizing contributions after you've made the contribution, and Eden is about proposing what you're going to do in the future. I think it's a lot harder to hold people accountable for stuff they haven't already done than it is to ask a community to recognize people for what they've already done. Secondly, the power within fractals is governed by teams and the council. And all this is based on the assumption that there is a group of people that are making this, at the very least, a part-time job to contribute to the community. They're working on a team, the team's reaching consensus, the team's selecting a leader, and then the top 12 teams are aboard, whereas Eden goes up to about 6 people as the chief delegates. There are no teams. So there's a vastly different approach. Now, if the Eden community wanted to become a fractal, they could become a fractal, but that's up to them to choose to do so. Now, what we're doing with Fractally is creating infrastructure that allows any community, any blockchain, to organize and reach consensus on how to do things. So there could be a Bitcoin fractal, an Ethereum fractal, an EOS fractal, and we would help all those different communities reach consensus and then to collaborate between them. So that's where we're going.
Right. I guess I was just wondering if there are ways that within that if Fractally operates in its current form, but also can spin up elections for some alternative purposes. Is that's just something that I assume you're thinking would be done by each smaller group, like in Eden transitioning over to Fractally.
So if I hear you correctly, there is room for a utility service, if you will, to host elections for a particular position. Say you wanted to, someone used an example of a dock commissioner or whatever. It's a position almost nobody knows about or cares about in most elections. Maybe it's school board. All the people who are interested in that position or interested in selecting that person can join a fractal for select the person, and then the organization can just outsource their election to that governance process. Once they're selected, then they have a term for however long, and then it's not an ongoing community self-contained kind of thing, but it's more of a one-off. Hey, you want to do an election? We'll do the election, and then there's a result, a one or n people selected to fill various positions. I think that there's a business opportunity there that's kind of fascinating, but because of the need to focus on one thing, I want to focus on a community that's entirely governed by this process, and then if it works well for us, then we can start providing that service to other communities. And I think that would be a great way of spreading the concept of fractal governance is by providing that service and encouraging people to use that kind of process for selecting their leaders.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Patrick, you had a question?
I just will repeat what I said sometimes. I will put into the chat here. Let me just copy again. So we have a fractally stand-up meeting mind map. Since the second meeting, fractally stand-up meeting, I have organized that. And now we have the contribution that I named FPOC for fractally proof of contribution. And we have Douglas that has made those nice contribution. We have Marco, Machinebird Sparrow. We have Joshua Seymour. And we will have other one, like into my group today, there was someone new, David Elvion. Where is David Elvion?
Patrick?
Oh, nice.
I appreciate that you're trying to do these announcements. This is for a question and answer. If you have information that you want to share, publish it in the chat, put a blog post up, everyone can read it. I'd like to focus this on questions, not statements. Matt, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So we're 10 weeks into your experiment now, and I wonder if what changes, if any, you're thinking about to the fractally white paper. Are you anything you want to change? Anything you're thinking about? Kind of what's your current thinking 10 weeks in?
There's a lot of micro changes, small little tweaks, a lot of best practices that we've discovered. I'd say one of the things that I would change from the fractally white paper is not going all the way until we get to 6, limiting at most 3 rounds, maybe only going to 2 rounds. If you think about, by the time you've gone to 2, you've identified the top 2% of the people. And I think the resolution beyond that might not be accurate and might just take too much time. So that's one of the things that will probably change. Some of the other things that we've identified are some of the social interactions as far as who's going to go first, who's going to nominate. The first person to nominate kind of biases it. And so we're still trying out different approaches there, from everybody pick an order and post at the same time to having the top first nominated person nominate the next person, to how things hand off. But there's definite changes that need to be made in the white paper, and Gregory and the team is kind of indexing them. And we'll come up with another white paper that summarizes all the things that have changed closer to when it actually launches. But yes, there have been things that have changed, and we've been experimenting every single week, like the pre-meeting to onboard new users. That's something that the white paper didn't initially conceive of. Some of the things like, is recording required, or is it optional, and at what scale? One of the things I think we've demonstrated is this process can work for groups with only one meeting of 36 or 40 people. Whereas Eden and whatnot, it just didn't seem like you need more people before the process started to make sense. But I think we've demonstrated that over time, averaging the results of one round can be just as powerful, even at a small scale. So those are all a couple of the things I can think of off the top of my head. There's, like I said, lots of micro optimizations, things around showing people's past contributions, UI things that help people get some context, posting summary information in written form. It's kind of like a micro blog every week, just so that we can have a written record of your contributions as well as the video record. Those are all some of the things that have come out of these meetings. I'm curious if there's any other enhancements, or do you think that we are getting pretty good at showing up, getting this knocked out really quick and moving forward? Douglas.
Hi, Dan. First of all, I'm so grateful to be in this experiment and be here with all of you. And I really see so much value in everybody's contributions if it is in this decentralized system where each component can be recognized and each component can have the power to change the system itself. Along those lines, you mentioned open source code. So my question is, what steps have we taken in the past week, as well as what steps are on the immediate horizon as far as open sourcing this code so that each and every person here has the opportunity to have their voice heard when it comes to the systemic design, the hard technology involved in Fractally?
Yep, we'll be opening up the code in June for everyone to see once we get there. In the early stages of development, things are evolving so rapidly that we want to get it to somewhat stable, somewhat documented, so that the big picture stuff is there, and then people can kind of have something that's easier to contribute to versus something that's evolving. But yeah, we'll be opening up what we're working on come June.
Very exciting. So this is going to conclude the main event for today. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Look forward to seeing you next week. And main reminder is to invite some people if you can. And I hope that the invitations of people is being very well respected.
Recording stopped.
If you want to stick around, this is going to be the after party, so to speak, for those who want to hang out a little bit longer. But thank you, everyone, for your time and for being here on Saturday. And appreciate the Q&A before and after, Dan. That was really awesome and helpful.
Yep. So thank you guys so much for showing up and giving of your weekend and your time throughout the week. You are the pioneers. I know that the Fractally team is working to deliver something that's going to make all this very much worth all the effort that you are putting into making this a reality. We are so excited to be able to share what we've been working on. Our desire to communicate effectively and at the appropriate time is forcing us to withhold certain developments, but we're really excited about what those things are, and I think everyone here will be very thrilled with what we have going on. So, all right.
And thank you, Stan Larimer, to be here also.
Yes. So,
thank you very much. The pleasure.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
bye, guys.
Yeah, baby.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Vladimir.
Matt, you want to send me a link to a Zoom?
Yes, I'm going to post it into the Telegram right now. So it's there's I'll do that as soon as we jump off. Do you want to jump off now?
Yeah, we can do it. There's somebody else who's interested. I don't know if he sent you a message.
Yes, I think they're reaching me, so I will set up a Zoom for those that have reached out, and please get it out as well, and we'll just meet on the other side. So I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, great. Thanks.